I'm a 20+ year WoW veteran who plays the auction house daily, making hundreds of thousands of gold a week with years of experience to my name. With a passion for sharing my knowledge and skill sets, I'm here to help you level up your game and achieve the same success. Here are my tips and tricks to making tons of gold and achieving new heights without spending any money. So the first step to making gold is learning how to be your own broker, managing, organizing, and staying consistent. This is one thing that nobody else teaches you. They go straight to the gold making. They don't teach you how to manage. First step, before anything, make a Horde or Alliance character respectively to what you play. You're going to make an Orc so that you can start off in Orgrimmar, or you're going to make a Human so that you start off in Stormwind. And the reason being, this is the fastest way to get to the core main city. You're going to stay level 1. This is going to be your bank character. Okay, so you're in your main city. Now what do? It's obvious, ain't it? You get a tuxedo, you get a weapon glow, you make it look fancy. Other than that, you need your minor speed increase enchant to your boots. You're going to be walking back and forth to the auction house, mailbox, bank, so be it. We're not going to take advantage of the heirloom mount. This is way more efficient to just run back and forth with your minor speed increase. Next step, you come to the guild vendor. You are going to get a charter and you are going to make a guild. And the reason being, this is going to give you a guild bank, which gives you extra slots to have storage further than your normal standard bank. So now you have massive storage capacity. On top of that, you have a character that only has things in their possession that you are selling. This is the core part of making gold. You do not want all of the items in your bags filling up on your main characters or even your alt characters that you play actively, because now you don't know what's for sale and what isn't. So when I have my bank character, I know every single thing that is in this character's possession is going to go on the auction house, and this is going to be very crucial for the beginning later stages that we're going to explain. The next step is getting your charter signed, and let's be real, asking people to sign a guild charter is like asking them for their 401k and life insurance policy. It's not happening. So what do I like to do? Boom, bada boom, bada bang. You see it here. I'm changing in right now in trade chat. All I'm going to say is I'm paying a massive amount of gold stacks for your charter sign, because guess what, baby? Time is money, friends. Next thing, you're going to come to the guild bank that you just established, and you're going to buy all of your bank slots. So now you can rack and stack all of your holy 4,000 gold, 5,000 gold. Hang on. What is it? 5,000, 20,000 gold. Holy okay, 4,000. Okay, shit. Okay, I need to sell these items. Holy The next step you're going to do is open up CurseForge if you have it, or go on Google and type in Trade Skill Master, all one word. This is going to be your auction house buddy. This is going to help you manage and organize and sell your gold. You got to crawl before you can walk, baby. So you're going to open this application on the auction house, and it's going to give you a drop-down list of everything in your bags. This is the default way that it's going to come out of the box. I'm not going to show you anything fancy, but the gist is going to help you here. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to select all down below. It's going to check mark every single item within your bags. This is exactly why it needs to be a bank character, so you know everything is for sale. You're going to hit post selected. It's going to do basically a scan of every item, which could take a couple minutes depending on the server status. After it's done, you're just going to hit post on every single item. So you're just going to post. What this does, it'll undercut very slightly depending on the parameters that you set, but out of the box it's either going to be the same amount or about 1 silver undercutting, and this is going to help you in terms of getting everything posted at the right pricing, so you don't have to do this manually within the default application of WoW. I personally check the auction house once a day, sometimes once every 2 days, to let my items marinate. As you can see here, I almost got 60,000 gold this day, and another day was almost 14,000, and I average as low as 8,000 upwards to 15,000 gold per day. So I'm not a massive gold cap person. However, I'm more catering to the casual players that want to make a lot of gold, because maybe they do other things in games such as Mythic Plus or heavy into PvP, but you still want to manage to have a lot of gold and live comfortably within the game. That's what I'm here to teach you today. The first farm we have for you is going to be Scarlet Monastery, a classic dungeon. It's super fun, easy to do, and the cool part is this is not a raid, so you can do this repetitively until it locks you out for the hour, and then go ahead and do it again. The average runtime for any class is going to be around the 8 to 9 minute mark. Some can do it in around 7 minutes, some might take upwards of 10. Just depends on how you do your pulls, and if you have any speed enchants, speed pots, things like that to increase your speed. you're going to want to loot any and everything, gray items, cloth, everything. So even these cloths that we're selling for coppers and silvers, I sell everything. You don't have to kill the bosses. In some dungeons you do not. You kind of want to skip them because they take time, but in these classic dungeons it's worth the pull because you're going to average anywhere from 6 to 8, maybe 9 gold per boss, along with the blue items that you can sell for additional gold. So everything adds up. Now anybody who does this specific dungeon is going to average as low as 4,500 gold per run, which is really on the low end. You're going to more so stay around the 7,000 gold range, and you can actually get upwards of 10,000 plus gold per the 8 minutes farm, because you could get lucky with certain green drops that people really want for transmog. Now there isn't anything specific that we're looking for, which is really good. We're not relying on you to find some sort of crazy drop that has a 0.1% chance of dropping. Yeah, you know, these people do these farms and they tell you gotta find this item. It's a once in a lifetime drop. Your grandma's grandma and your cousin's family member and your grandpa's grandma is gonna want this item because it's so rare. We're not we're not doing that here, boys. You literally want any and everything because you're gonna sell it all in the auction house. Everything. Okay, so that's a big thing with me, is I sell it all. I don't care if I'm selling it for 2 copper, it's going in the auction house because somebody eventually is gonna want it. This farm is super quick. Once you're done, you're done. 8 minutes in, you go out, do it again, and you just start stacking and racking, boys. That's all there is to it. The next farm is going to be Blackwing Lair. In this particular one, you're going to need a character with skinning. So if you do not care about professions because you do other game modes, then I highly suggest either making a bunch of alts with skinning or at least one character with skinning. Of course, this is a raid, so you're going to be locked out. So this is something to do a little bit more casually, and it averages a little bit more gold than the Scarlet Monastery. And what you're looking for here mainly is going to be the Black Dragon skills through skinning, and you get these virtually almost every boss along with every elite dragon. So any type of elite mob is also going to be skinnable, even if it doesn't look like it in some regard. There are several elites that are the kind of humanoid dragon looking guys. Those can be skins, as you see here, and everything will be also taken into consideration, same as Scarlet Monastery, where you're selling literally everything you get. A little bit more amped up than Scarlet Monastery is this is going to have better world drops, so that you could get a little bit more lucky in terms of the transmog area, but this is going to be fairly the same concept as Scarlet Monastery. You're only adding in being able to skin certain things, and then on the last boss there is also a sack of gems that will kind of beef up your your overall output of cash flow here. So you're going to average as low as around 4,000 gold if you get really unlucky like me and you don't clean your bags. I actually had to delete several items on this run just to ensure that I was picking up other items because I was doing other gold farms. So definitely something to consider, but you're going to average around the 6 to 8k if you have clean bags. So it's just a little bit more than Scarlet Monastery, but like I said, you have that option or opportunity rather to get better world drops, which could amp you up to the 10 to 12 even 15k plus range if you get lucky. But you don't have to necessarily rely on being lucky because you're going to average that 6 to 8k mark, and then of course just the greens even can sell more in some cases than Scarlet Monastery. So this is a good thing to do weekly while you have that sort of filler, and then you can stick to Scarlet Monastery and the other options that we're going to show you here today. The next farm is going to be a normal freehold run, and again, this is not a raid, so you can spam this as much times as you please until you get that hour lockout, and you just do it again. Now any class is going to be okay. Now the best classes obviously are going to be classes like Demon Hunter, Druids, and then Mages, but it's best on any class to have speed food and speed pots to increase your speed time and decrease your overall time for the dungeon. Now this dungeon is going to take anywhere from 8 to upwards of 11-minute range depending on your class. Now one thing to note is you will be skipping the bosses because all of the added RP wait times and just the boss mechanics in general is going to do nothing but slow you down. In fact, all of the bosses added up is just going to be another time that you could have cleared the dungeon. So you're going to want to avoid those and kind of pick your own path. There's tons of paths you can do, but effectively you want to grab groups of mobs and bring them to a corner, so that way you can kind of stack and rack them. You're going to average around 6,000 to 10,000 gold per run, with the opportunity of making 15 to 18 depending on the items that drop. So again, same concept as Scarlet Monastery and the ones before. You want to sell every single item that you get in this dungeon, and it all is going to go in the auction house, even the gray transmog items. So don't forget this is a very core thing. That's why your bank character is always going to be stocked. That's why you're always going to have something to do in the auction house. Another thing with this dungeon is there are a handful of mobs that you can do for skinning. So this is only going to increase your profit margins overall, and you're going to average around 8 upwards to 12,000 gold per run. This includes all of the items and things you're going to sell to the vendors, such as, the items that you'll pick up that are soulbound that you're going to sell. This is totally up to you and your preference, but I suggest anything you can sell in the auction house, please definitely do so. And you can get upwards of 18,000 gold plus, depending on how lucky you get with world drops. The cool thing about these farms that I'm showing you here is you're not relying on anything. By default, you will be getting a substantial amount of gold and items to sell in the auction house. The next grind is going to be island expeditions. These can be extremely lucrative, however, they do not have a very quick output in terms of a return. So it's going to take you a little bit more time, because what we're working towards is getting the doubloons so that you can buy the crates from the vendors, along with, potential drops that you'll give you by default after every island you complete. And the way you're doing this by yourself is basically queuing at next to the guy who's going to talk to. He's going to allow you to queue mythics on your own, and you can do this by yourself or with a friend. I was lucky in this particular run because there was somebody next to the table basically looking for somebody else to make the run a little bit quicker, which it did. And you're not actually taking away from anything if you do this with multiple people. You're actually only increasing your output and throughput on how many you're able to do per hour, because you're each going to get the doubloons. You're each going to potentially get some item after the end of the island. So it's in your best interest. If you can do this with friends, then do it. A lot of people say that they don't have friends, unfortunately, and that their BNet is completely empty, which is a sad world we live in right now, but that's okay. Hey, listen, you can do this by yourself and you can make a ton of gold. About every hour, you are going to manage enough doubloons to buy one crate, and I can't tell you which crate to buy specifically, unfortunately, because every week they will rotate and they are based on the bosses of that week. Depends on the loot that you're getting. Now, the epic crate, which is substantially more, generally, believe it or not, is not something that you're trying to chase. You really want the 120 doubloon crates, because these are going to contain a lot of valuable transmog items, more in particular all of the plundered weapons, which average as low as 100k upwards to 250k depending on the server that you're on, as well as all of the nice green transmog items, which range from as low as 8k all the way to 30 and 40k gold. So this is very, very lucrative. It just, you're going to put a little bit more time and effort, and it's kind of a lottery, but at the same time you will be definitively getting these crates, which contain 3 different transmog items, mounts, and or toys. So you're going to get something regardless. It's just a little bit more RNG type, but it can be extremely lucrative if you want to kill some time. Honestly, these runs take about 5 to 6 minutes per average, especially even lower if you have a friend. So it's really not that time consuming, and it could be fun. You throw on some music, watch a YouTube video, do what you want. You do this a few times a week and potentially get a few $100,000. You've already accumulated your WoW token, and you're good to go. So these are really, really cool. Definitely would highly consider doing these. It feels a little bit laggy, because after every single one, you're not actually getting items accumulatively. You will be getting sacks and different items after each run, so you could get lucky on getting an item, but you will definitively get that item after getting the 120 doubloons. I would look up on Wowhead to see what's inside the crates, but most of the blue ones are going to have your plundered items. In fact, the guy that I was running with this time actually ended up getting a plundered item worth around 160k, so he already is winning, and we only did a few of these. but it really just depends on the output that you're willing to put in is going to determine what you receive back. I know a lot of people are into Mythic Plus or heavy PvP such as myself. I do not label myself by any means as a massive gold farmer, but I do not have troubles with gold. I'm even helping friends sometimes and giving them things or giving them gold because I have the means to do so. So I never personally have problems. All of my ults and characters are fine. I'm able to purchase WoW tokens, and if you follow my strategies, I can teach you the same greatness. I will be doing more series on gold farming and little tips and tricks as well, so I appreciate you watching, and please consider subscribing because I got more secrets for you. I got all the secrets, I promise.